The Eagles will be looking for a new head coach next season after they fired Doug Pederson yesterday. They did? Yep, they did. While he did deliver their only Super Bowl title in franchise history, he also failed to navigate a very, very sticky situation with Carson Wentz. He also failed to present a good enough case for the future of the franchise to ownership in meetings over the last week. Also, he's bad at press conferences. Here's Eagles owner Jeffrey Lurie.
My first allegiance is what will be best for the Philadelphia Eagles and our fans for the next 3, 4, 5 years. It's not based on does someone deserve to hold their job or deserve to get fired. That's a different bar. Very few people probably after success deserve to lose their job. This is much more about the evaluation of whether the Eagles moving forward, our best option is to have a new coach. And that's really what it's about. It's not about did Doug deserve to be let go? No, he did not deserve to be let go. That's not where I'm coming from, and that's not the bar in the evaluation process.
Brian Westbrook spent 8 seasons with the Philadelphia Eagles. He's joining us now. Brian, good morning to you. I have to ask, were you surprised the Eagles ended up deciding to fire Doug Pederson?
Well, good morning, Jenna. You know, I was surprised because I usually have seen situations like this where it's the general manager and the head coach tied together. And when you see the head coach go, usually the general manager goes as well. And so last Monday, we saw a press conference that had Doug Pederson and Howie Roseman, the general manager, at the podium, and they were speaking about moving forward for 2021 for this football team. Since then, Doug Pederson had a meeting with Jeffrey Lurie, the owner, last Tuesday that apparently, according to reports, did not go very well. And then he had another meeting yesterday with Jeffrey Lurie, the owner, that obviously did not go very well as far as being the head coach of the football team there in Philadelphia. And it came really down to 2 issues. First one is the vision of the football team, the current state as well as the long-term state. As any professional football coach or coach in general, you want to try to fix things right now. Doug Pederson wanted to try to rectify the 4-11-1 season that he's coming off of. He was trying to win in 2021. But as the owner, Jeffrey Lurie, he had the luxury of being able to look more long-term. So he's thinking more mid to long-term, 2 to 5 years, how to build something and make this franchise be one of the franchise similar to the Patriots, where they're continuing to compete year after a 2 different visions there as far as where the team is at now and the moving forward. Excuse me. The other bigger thing that I think for Doug Pederson was he wanted to try to find control. He wanted to keep the little bit of control that he had there in Philadelphia. Over his course of the 5 years there, he's been forced upon him different players. He's been forced upon him different staff members. And Doug Pederson, at this point, he said, listen, I want to at least be able to pick my offensive coordinator. He wanted to have Press Taylor, who currently was the pass game coordinator and the quarterback coach, be the offensive coordinator. By having Press Taylor as the offensive coordinator, at that point, Doug Pederson still at least stayed in control of the offense. And obviously, Jeffrey Lurie didn't like that game plan. He wanted to bring in an offensive coordinator from outside. Jeffrey Lurie wants to have an elite offense. He did not see the game plan, the path forward with Press Taylor being the offensive coordinator and, of course, Doug Pederson as a coach. And now we have the situation in Philadelphia where you're without a head coach and you still have to figure out the Carson Wentz issue, Brandon.
There you go. So you're talking about the owner, Jeffrey Lurie, and what his vision for the next 3 to 5 years out. Could it be that Doug Pederson went to them and said, look, I'm the one that sits in front of the media every single week and get crushed. Now, rightfully so. He's not the greatest when it comes to interviewing. He's not the best in answering questions. But what he is the guy that led you to your only Super Bowl. So when you stand up and you look at that roster and you don't see any depth in almost every area on this team, and you're seeing aging guys on the defensive line and the offensive line that usually used to be your strength, and they're not there anymore, you're going to question, whether or not this is a good place for you. This is a guy that can get it done. He led this team to a Super Bowl without Carson Wentz. So when you think about what he needs to move forward, he needs more control, B. He needs to be able to go in there and say, No, I need more depth at the linebacker position. The cornerback position, the secondary position, really haven't gotten it done for us in the last 10 years. You take out Malcolm Jenkins, and they have nobody over there. Give me another name that made the Pro Bowl. Give me another name that was a difference maker on that field. Doug Pederson is probably looking around saying, man, look at all these open vacancies and great jobs. Maybe I make my way down to Houston. I like Deshaun. I'll go get another Super Bowl there. So I think this was more mutual than it was a firing, Nick.
Let me just jump in, because the Eagles, whoever they bring in, is still going to seemingly have a quarterback question to have to answer. So the Eagles, though, now the 7th head coach opening around the NFL. Nick, I'll throw it to you. Where do the Eagles land on your head coaching vacancy rankings?
Oh, not high. Listen, I don't think they have a quarterback. They're in cap hell, and their GM doesn't draft well, and it's a very tough media market. Aside from that, it's a great job. So show the list. Here are the 7 spots. I think the Eagles are the 2nd worst job. By the way, what a fall from grace for Houston. When I debuted this list, they were 1. They then fell to 2, and now they just keep plummeting, and the more news that comes out of that disastrous organization. But Detroit's the worst because they're like the worst job opening emeritus. Like, that's their lifetime position. They just get that until further notice. But the Eagles then come in next, because if you go to Philly, what do you have? You don't know if you have a quarterback. In fact, you probably don't. You don't know if your GM's going to draft well. You don't know if how long of a rope you're going to get. Like, you're in to me, a really rough spot. So if I am, Eric Bieniemy, or one of the, Brian Daboll is going to probably get some job opportunities, one of these guys, I would think Jacksonville's going to have Trevor Lawrence. The Jets are going to have Justin Fields if they want him. The Chargers already have Justin Herbert. The Falcons can either stick with Matt Ryan or trade him for a bounty of picks and rebuild there.
With
the
Doug
Texans either going to stick with Deshaun Watson. Well, so what I wonder with Doug Pederson is Joe Douglas is in New York. They have a relationship. Like, I don't know that I would be hurrying to hire Doug Pederson, but if he does fall into it and get another coaching job immediately, I would think be with the Jets. But Wilds, that to me is your list of openings. I don't think the Eagles right now are a good job at all.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, it's sort of like when you talk about Philadelphia, Brian, it's like the exact opposite of what we just saw with the Sixers, where Doc Rivers leaves like, oh, hold on, Philadelphia is open, you got 2 stars, all I need to do is figure it out, like, sounds good. But the Eagles don't have anything sort